This is like a part 2, so still on the topic of Laban, right? Why am I flogging this topic? I'm heading somewhere. There's something I want us to correlate to this Laban story and what just transpired with Mohbad. I think I've given too much information right now, but let me explain this, right? Let me finish the story. So anyways, he works for 7 years, and after the 7 years, instead of being given Rachel, what he was given was Leah, right? And there's something that came to my mind while I was thinking about it. I was like, and when he complained that this was not what I worked 7 years for, he was like, this is the tradition, like this is how it's been done. The firstborn has to be married first, right? The before you give the secondborn. Like, why didn't you tell me that before I started all the work? I wasn't working for the firstborn, I was working for the secondborn, right? And then I realized something. I said, most times people begin to use traditions, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't follow due process, but you see, even with the laws that we have, they're designed in such a way that it slows down justice. All of a sudden, let's follow due process. Let's bring in the police. Let's do this. This is what's supposed to be done first. Let's not deal with this issue first. Let's deal with this one first. This is how it's supposed to be done. And before you know it, all of a sudden, justice is stifled in the neck. There's a saying in law called justice delayed is justice denied. So the question I ask you guys is, let me keep this one first. You guys are already. Justice delayed is justice denied, my dear. So all of a sudden, due process. This is not who is supposed to be married. This is who's supposed to be married. This is the traditions of men all of a sudden spring up when there is an injustice and justice needs to be done. And Jacob is shocked. He is experiencing the shock of deception for the first time. Right? How? It's painful. And then the next thing is like, Laban is now like, okay, fine. You work for me for the next 7 years and I will give you Rachel. But it's not like he was going to give him the Rachel after 14 years now. He's just going to give him the Rachel, but he will work 7 years. So his contract is going to end in the next 7 years. Are you guys getting where I'm going? So he works again for those 7 years. And when 7 years are done, right? In fact, when the 7 years are done, right? He tries to tell Laban that he wants to leave. I think that's what happened. I'm not really sure which happened, whether this happened within the 7 years or after the 7 years, but I think I need to go and check that again. After working, while he was working, I don't remember right now, but they went into a contract, right? Oh, I think it was after. Because Jacob wanted to leave. And then he told Jacob something. He now said, okay, let me go into a contract with you. In this contract, concerning this wealth, because their wealth was in animals and gold and stuff, but their animals were the first sign, like is what they had, right? Because it was for food, it was for clothes, it was for whatever they were using it for. So it was like these animals, like this sheep, these goats, whatever it is, like these animals were keeping. The ones that look like this, like choose the ones that you want, right? I'll take. It's like they were all colored differently. So Jacob took the ones. Laban tried to be smart to take the ones that are fat, so that Jacob would take the ones that are not really producing, right? Unknown to him, you're dealing with somebody who has God. So God now came and sent his angel to give Jacob cheat code. If you hear what Jacob said when he was running away, because at the end of the day, last it took an angel to, in fact, it took an angel, and then it took the agreement of his wives to follow him before Jacob left. Because even after the angel told him to leave, it's not like he all up and went and said, okay, everybody stand up, let us go. No, he talked to his wives about it. Because, I mean, he can't just start going, like it's their father, even though they are his, right? Even though they are his children, they're his wives. But why? And he has finished paying for them, like he has finished paying. And if those wives were not aggrieved with their father, they would have actually stayed. But then Laban, for the love of his money, he ate the money of the children. There was no inheritance for the girls. So the girls were like, it's not like we have anything with our father, so let's go. Whatever the angel tells you to do, do. You get whatever the angel tells you to do, do. So you look at how he's been running this whole system. I'm going to the point where I'm going to bring in the system inside the whole equation and how it relates to all that is going on right now, because this is something I have observed for the past, I think almost like 8 years. I've been observing this pattern like more than 8 years, more than a decade. I've been observing this thing in the industry as it is. So here is Laban coming to try and, like, because he tried to leave many times. And while he was staying and still, even in that situation of that contract, Jacob said this guy tried to cheat him 10 times. But God was with him, so he could not succeed. If you read the story, you'll know how the guy tried to do the cheating. Don't worry, it's not my job to go and do. Just go and read down. Like, he was doing everything. And it was obvious. In fact, when the angel came to come and warn Jacob, was at the time that already jealousy was rising. The plan wasn't working. Jacob was just prospering. His animals were becoming too much. And then the father's animals were, do you understand? Like, the contract was not working in their favor at all. And then the rumor started spreading. Among the sons of Laban, this guy came to collect our father's inheritance. Even though the father knew that the blessing that came to him was as a result of Jacob, God being with Jacob. Then the angel told them to leave. And then he backed up to leave. Do you know that this guy pursued Laban, after hearing it, pursued Jacob and his family for like 7 days. These guys were running for like 7 days. Now, there were things that happened that transpired, because if you keep reading through the story, one of the things you will ask yourself when you're reading through the story is, why won't this guy just stand up and go? What was the sentiment attached? Was it the sentiment of the fact that, was it a guilt? Was he feeling guilty that, oh, if he just leaves, it will be like, this man that helped me? Or was it fear? Or was it the fear of losing something? What was he going to lose? There was just something hindering him. There was a state of mind he was in. It could be possible that all was working at the same time. Because, I mean, A man like Laban, I don't think that guy would would care much about Jacob. I think he would care more about, I mean, he didn't care about his daughters to keep anything for them, right? So you think it's Jacob that you come and care about. Like, as far as it's concerned, Jacob Jacob's job is to make him money. He can't allow his money making bank move. Was Jacob scared that something bad might happen to his family or to his children, or the man might look for a way to keep his family and his children away from him? The most valuable things to him, because I don't even think it's the sheep, I think it is his wives and his children. So they began to run. It was an escape. It was an escape. A serious escape. So here we are talking about Laban, and Laban caught up with him, by the way. Laban caught up with him after 7 days. And despite even the warnings of the angels to Laban, right? Now, all these things, we are talking about a man who already is under a covenant. Like he's under a covering of a covenant. A covenant that was made before his fathers. A covenant that started with Abraham, then to his father, now to him. So if you look at all that happening, you can see that the reason somehow why this guy is alive is because there is God's covering over him. It is God, because God was with him, he prospered. Because God was with him, he didn't allow Laban to succeed at the cheating that he wanted to cheat him. Because God was with him, everything that Laban tried to do was not just working to destroy this guy. Rather, it was making him prosperous. And he was trying all he could to keep this guy. Unfortunately, at least try and be nice now. At least try and be nice. Even if you are doing business, try and be nice. You understand? This guy was still trying to cheat. Look for a negotiation power. Since you are not the one with the blessing, do you understand? You're still looking for a way to cheat. Anyways, analyzing this thing about Jacob, right? It brought me to a place where I was like, I was looking at all the systems. I was looking at the operations of this world. I was looking at how companies run. I was looking at how record labels run. I was looking at the political sphere, how it ran. I was looking at how government works. And it was almost like in every system you could see that structure of Laban working. And what comes to mind to me is, who else works like that? The devil. He's the one who trades unfairly. He's the one who trades unfairly. They never give like what you put your strength into. It is designed in such a way, like this whole pattern is designed in such a way that you are wasted at the end of the day. You don't go out with anything. You die there. You serve till you die. You serve till you die. It got to a point that even when Jacob was working, right? Look at this thing. Even the animals that died that were not his fault, when he was keeping the animals, Jacob paid for them. Does that sound familiar? How were record contracts written? Food for thought. Record label contracts. How were they written? How are they written? Who, at the end of the day, gets out with anything? Who becomes wealthy? But at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, some people are able to survive out of it. Some people are able to survive the system. Some people are able to escape the system. Some people are able to escape to the point that, like Jacob, because of the covering, like Jacob, they are able to prosper more than when they were in Laban's house. So all I want to say to you guys is, I want you guys to think about this thing, because the next thing I want to talk about, right, concerning this analysis with Laban and Jacob, is I want to talk about the heritage, the inheritance, and how it relates to what's going on right now in our industry, how family is involved. Remember, we talked about the family. His family, he was with family. The role family plays. The role family plays in the scheme of things. The role of family in the scheme of things, the people close to us, the role they play. The role of the blessing, the role of the inheritance, the role of the covering, all these things come into the picture. Because without it, I've seen a lot of gifted people. I've seen a lot of talented people. I've seen a lot of them waste away. They never come to anything. Their life just ends. I have experienced the darkness of these things. Almost got consumed by it. And when I say consumed, I'm not talking like I got carried away, no. Like my life almost went as a result of it. So we're going to talk because we need to get somewhere. There's somewhere I'm getting. We need to get to the point where I want to show you that concerning what just took place, this justice for Mohbad, there is a pattern that has been there for a very long time that is playing here. See you in the next video. God bless you.